Hi, I've got a few more things to talk about than just Doctor Who. I mean, it's the end of the year, so I'll try to address at least one other subject. About Doctor Who Last Christmas. I liked it. I liked it more than I thought I would. I thought it was a really solid little adventure story. The Doctor manages to save the day, and they manage to work in Santa Claus without being too twee or comedic, though it was both things, but in fair measure, Nick Frost made a great Santa Claus. So, there are a few plot holes, of course, there always are. It's Doctor Who. One thing I've noticed that's sort of proliferated throughout Doctor Who in all its forms. You ever notice this? Whenever someone dies in Doctor Who, it's usually just an example of how bad the bad guy is, or the monster of the week. When someone dies, that's all they're really good for. There's so little weight attached to death in Doctor Who. Well, usually. Sometimes it's too much weight. But for the most part, once the good guys reach their happy ending, the people who just died are completely forgotten. Remember that episode where the Doctor took a couple of kids to an outer space amusement park? None of the kids ever seems traumatized by the fact that the guy they just met got assimilated by the Cybermen and died. That people died all around them. And they never pay any kind of lip service to it. In this episode, Last Christmas, there's this one guy. His mind gets devoured by the head crabs. As soon as the rest of the cast manages to escape on Santa's sleigh, oh well, he isn't even mentioned again. And the rest of them are just content to wake up from their dreams in their real lives. And it's fine, I can understand them being happy, of course, but once or twice, I'd kind of like to see someone pay a little bit of lip service. Like, while everybody else is like, oh, it's wonderful, we're riding around in Santa's sleigh, hooray, the day is saved. I'd like for there to be somebody sitting in the back going, I knew him for 12 years. I'll never see him again. Oh, God. And on that note, what about that guy who died? Isn't his head crab still on him wherever he really was? I mean, how do those things proliferate? Do they lay eggs in people's heads or something? Isn't that kind of a concern? Did the Doctor track down that guy who still had the head crab on, whose crab managed to eat his brain? What about that one? We see all the other crabs popping off of people and they're okay, but what about the guy who still had the head crab on him? Kind of a problem. Well, I guess we can just assume that the Doctor took care of it. Let's hope, because otherwise it's, like I said, kind of a loose end. But again, this is Doctor Who, and there are very few loose ends in this particular Christmas special. And I've talked about episodes of Doctor Who which had lots and lots of loose ends, like the season finale, with all the dead people in the necrosphere, and I'm not even going to touch on that again. All things considered, I thought it was a very lovely little special. Cute little adventure. I don't know about you, though. It was convenient, wasn't it, how the crab creatures just disintegrated as soon as they're dead? At first, I thought that was evidence of dream logic, but no, apparently they really do that. It's so convenient. But I don't know about you. As I said, I don't know about you. You might react differently. If it was me and I woke up to find one of those things falling off my head in my apartment or my house or wherever I was waking up in, I wouldn't go, gross. No. I would freak out. I would run out of the house and drive to the nearest relatives. I'd stay in a hotel that night. I'd turn the shower on as hot as possible and get off. Oh, no, yes, I'm so gross. No, those people shake it off really well, don't they? This one girl wakes up like, gross. There's one woman, she wakes up in bed, the thing's right next to her. She just gives a little shriek, and that's enough. Okay, never mind. Long story short, I liked it. It was a good episode. Better than I was expecting, so kudos to them, to everyone involved, to Moffat. Moffat generally does well with dream episodes where you don't have to rely too much on logic. It suits him. You know, he's made a lot of great episodes. And this episode played to his strengths. It was whimsical. He likes playing with whimsy, you know, with fairy tale motifs and things like that. So it just suited him very well. When Moffat is at home with his material, he's fantastic. Which is why when he's not at home with his material, well, we get most of last season of Doctor Who. Anyway, like I said, I'm happy with it. Let me just look through my notes, see if there's anything I forgot to mention. I don't have many notes because I don't have much to complain about. I'm a complainer, not a complimenter. Where did the crabs come from? How did they proliferate? How did they get to these people? It's just sort of hand-waved away. The Doctor, one gets on the Doctor, and they find out about everyone. Do they sneak on board the TARDIS and use it to find everyone else? How does that work? How do they get to all these people through time and space? Well, I can let that go. That's it. I haven't got much more else to say about it. But I did say I'd try and talk about one more thing. I'll take off my Doctor Who hat now. Apparently, the new 52, just hopping genres and mediums completely, I had to mention this at some point. They've sort of solved it. My main problem with the new 52. You might have gotten the impression that I hate reboots. I don't. I don't, actually. Sometimes it really works. I hate how reboots are usually handled. And in this case, I felt that there was too much disrespect paid to what had come before. It was all just brushed under the rug. But now they're finally handling it. Apparently the remnants of the previous DC universe have been collected by Brainiac. And this is good, you know? Because now that they're not the primary focus, their stories, the stories that we've been following all this time, can eventually be allowed to come to a conclusion, like I was bemoaning the lack of last time I talked about this. Lois Lane getting pregnant, yeah, she always does in Elseworlds and so forth, but now that's her endpoint, the Lois Lane that we've been keeping track of for the past few decades. It's good. It's good because one of the good things about reboot, if they're done correctly, reboots can allow a previous iteration of an encompassing universe to reach a conclusion because it ceases to be the focus. The running while standing still thing, which I mentioned before, that's only in play while we're looking at it. When we're not looking directly at something in comics, it can be allowed to move on, and that's what's happening. Oracle's still in her wheelchair, Superman and Lois Lane are still married, she's having a baby, and they can finally all eventually move on with their lives because they're not in the main comics anymore. That's hoisted on the new 52. And that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. Wally West is back. He still exists anyway in this time bubble, whatever it is. I hope that it all turns out well. I hope they aren't all wiped away. But at any point, we're getting more than we had. That's all I wanted. I could talk at length about this, but I'm very happy. This puts to rest a lot of my problems with the new 52. So I still think it's a dumb title, 52, but still, I'm okay. No, I'm getting over it. That was a great Christmas present for me. I had a great Christmas. Speaking of which, let this be the third thing. I had a great Christmas, got lots of nice things, and I thank all of you who've given me things to be thankful for, people who enjoy my work. I'm thankful for you, and I thank you for everything you do, whether you pay, whether you just read or listen to what I do or say. Thank you. Just really, if you support me financially, it's wonderful. If you just enjoy my work, that's wonderful too. So thank you, and hey, I hope you have a great new year. And 2014 was pretty good, I think. Let's hope 2015 keeps it up. Long time coming, actually. I'm starting to get a little impatient. Well, a votre santé.